Hey everyone, Tim Shoup here with another episode of Digital Boardwalk TV. And today we are going to focus on artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence technology is a vital piece of today's small business application enterprise. It's a vital piece of success with small businesses. It can give you a competitive edge in the industry against your primary competitors. You can use artificial intelligence for a number of things. It's kind of weeded its way into small business. I've seen it in accounting, with customer relationship management and things like that. And of course, with IT support companies, there's a lot of IT support companies that leverage artificial intelligence to support our customers' networks. And that's what I want to talk about today. Most MSPs, like what we are, managed services provider, invest in proactive measures. So we proactively, monitor and support systems. You've probably heard the buzzwords to identify, protect, and obviously mitigate issues in a network, hopefully before they become bigger issues. But MSPs like Digital Boardwalk that choose to invest large amounts of time and money in artificial intelligence can definitely find ourselves with not only a competitive edge in our industry, but more so it helps our customers with efficiency and productivity. Let me explain that for a second. For instance, we devote an entire team to just implementing and training others inside of our organization on artificial intelligence and how to implement artificial intelligence to use it to kind of, in some cases, circumvent or I should say mitigate the human element within the business, but more so to offer a helping hand for that human to do more with what's at their disposal. So having this artificial intelligence tool at their disposal, they can do a lot more. So, I talked about the large amounts of time and effort and money that it takes to invest in the teams to do this. But over time, that time and money will pay off in droves because it may take hundreds of hours to implement artificial intelligence and scripting to be able to do more. But in the long run, your company or your MSP is able to do less for those certain situations that you've used artificial intelligence or you've deployed artificial intelligence to help with those situations. And now you can focus on the next steps for the customer. So let me give you a few examples of artificial intelligence as it relates to IT support. So Adobe Reader, it's a very common application. Everybody uses it to read your PDFs. So if it needs to be reinstalled or fixed, they contact their IT professional. And they'll wait minutes, hours, or a day to, get someone on the phone or have them remote into the computer. And then they have to follow a manual process to either uninstall and reinstall that application. And a lot of times it can be taken care of in a matter of 15 minutes. They remote in, they uninstall, they reinstall, they test, and so forth, and then they move on. But if they're not available to do that, then it delays the customer, and the customer's experience is now a 1 out of a 5 instead of a 5 out of a 5. So how do we use artificial intelligence to fix that problem? So for Adobe Reader, with the proper artificial intelligence implemented, tested, and working, you can have artificial intelligence automatically detect whether Adobe Reader is indeed installed and working on that computer, and then it can uninstall and reinstall or potentially just reinstall that application without the end user, without the human sitting at the desktop even knowing any of that is happening. In addition to that, the script that we use for that, will automatically detect newer versions when they're available and automatically install those new versions as well. So that's one example of artificial intelligence implemented that can save time and money for the MSP and time and increase the customer experience for the MSP's customer. So it's a win-win all the way around. So in that same situation, when you have a customer, usually a tech-savvy end user, that decides they want to tinker and they uninstall the application and then can't get it reinstalled properly, with the right artificial intelligence implemented, the algorithm can detect the changes and automatically revert them back to the proper version of Adobe, functioning and tested and working properly. So even if there's a good example of saving time and money for the MSP and time and money for the customer, because the MSP now doesn't have to get involved because the MSP has deployed the proper artificial intelligence to mitigate the situation, and the MSP can even document that situation within their ticketing system automatically. So the script would actually implement the ticket on its own on behalf of the technician and deploy a preset notes for that situation in the ticket. So now every technician using artificial intelligence wisely to make their job easier, it's like every technician out there has their own assistant. So great solution. Let me give you another example. So Adobe Reader is just a simple example of using artificial intelligence to mitigate the experience. But another higher end example would be server maintenance and support. So let's say that a technician needs to work on a server and a technician needs to reboot that server. Generally in today's age, businesses aren't going to allow the MSP or the IT support company to reboot that server in the middle of a workday because it will cost them potentially thousands of dollars in lost productivity, end users not being able to work, so on and so forth. So of course the IT support company wants to reboot that server on a Friday or Saturday night for routine maintenance. The problem is, if they choose to reboot, even though they can do it remotely, and they choose to reboot that server on a Saturday night, and that server doesn't, restart correctly or function properly, then you have another problem. Because the IT support guy, he doesn't want to go out there on a Saturday night. He doesn't want to deal with it or wake up the business owner on a Saturday night. And so in a lot of cases, what I've seen just by going behind other IT companies is that they don't do it at all. They don't do the server maintenance and support. A good example is we took over a healthcare company. And when we did, the first thing I noticed when we went into the server closet, they were running an old version of the server operating system. I believe that company had server 2008 in place, which wasn't in support anymore. And this was only about 3 years ago. Not in support anymore. It hasn't been for quite a while. And not supported by Microsoft. And it hadn't been patched or updated in quite a while. Yet they had an IT guy on staff to handle all those problems. We were brought in when that person had fallen ill and was out of the picture. What seemed to be temporarily ended up being permanently. And he hadn't been doing his job. And I think it was because he didn't want to deal with all the things that come with that. Because, having to do patches and updates, sometimes you can run into bigger issues when you do that. And that's why MSPs deploy such a large team of talent, because we have more people involved instead of just relying on one IT guy. But getting back to the server maintenance and support problem, when you you know when you're hoping that your IT company is supporting it, and they say they're doing it proactively, but they're not using artificial intelligence to help them stay consistent with patching and updating and maintenance of servers, that becomes a problem. I've seen it all too common in our industry where these guys just don't do it. So what's good about, for instance, Digital Boardwalk's artificial intelligence system for this particular situation, server updating and maintenance, is it can automatically detect when the server needs maintenance. And we predefined maintenance windows. Let's say it's Saturday night from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. And that is the window that we have for that server to be updated. So the algorithm detects that it needs the updates. It detects that it needs the maintenance and updates, the patch. It deploys that patch at midnight. It follows through. It tests the patch. It makes sure that it completely reboots the server. The server comes up. And as soon as it can identify that all the computers reconnect to that server and everything is functioning properly, it fills the ticket in, closes the ticket in on behalf of the technician, and all is fine. And so the beauty of this is that once all that happens, it then contacts our on-call support team, which is the same teams that work here during the day, and we have a rotating schedule. It can contact the support team on call and let them know that it finished the updates, it finished the maintenance, and if there's anything that the human needs to do, then it tells them exactly what they need to do. In most cases, they don't need to do anything. But we can automate that process, and by taking all the time that we invest into deploying these scripts and this artificial intelligence, it makes our company more productive and efficient for our customers, and we're able to provide a better level of service. So artificial intelligence, a great way to really make things more efficient for your customers, but you have to know that you're going to devote a lot of time to developing the scripts, training all the technicians on how to use those scripts, and deploying those scripts, and then how to follow up and keep those scripts updated when things change in a customer's environment. But again, Tim Shoup, Digital Boardwalk TV. Be sure to ring that bell and subscribe, and don't miss our next episode next week. See you soon.